respect here for Garrett Cole. Just a little respect, everybody. Guy's pretty good.
Most wins in the majors.
He's pretty good.
2018.
Best pitcher in New York, that's for sure. 10:03 on the Fan. What's going on, everybody? It's the Tiki and Tierney show. We will get to the Yankees. I'll tell you, yesterday was interesting from a Mets point of view. We're going to get to the Yankees very early in the show. Next segment, actually, start weaving in the Yankee stuff. But see, they played 7 games and they've already lost every way. And that's what really has to scare you. And you think about this, they've lost because their starting pitching's been terrible on occasion. They've lost because their offense been dormant for the most part. I know their studs woke up yesterday, but that was an outlier. They scored 6 runs and they got outscored, whatever it was, 26-6 in 3 games down in Milwaukee. And this was my biggest fear, and I actually said this yesterday. What happens when the bullpen has its first malfunction? What happens when the Mets bullpen, at the back end, not in the middle end where there's a little gas on the fire and a little deficit becomes a bigger deficit with Hunter and some others. When you give the baseball to somebody who is supposed to, do the job that Diaz was, obviously going to do very well this year, what happens then? Well, what you have is, a team that's bleeding from every direction. That's what you have, and that's what's scary.
Yeah, and it's one thing to point out how they've lost, because you're right. They lost because they scored no runs, literally, no runs. That's not being facetious. For the first 2 games of this series, they lost because the bullpen malfunctioned, as you said just yesterday. They've lost because injuries. They've lost because everythting that could go wrong has gone wrong for this Mets start.
Even base running's been a little shouty. Vogelbach.
I get on Vogelbach for trying to stretch a double. A single into a double. And, nothing feels right. But I would counter with, what is the benefit of the Mets starting fast? They started fast last year. Remember, we talked about this all last season, how they didn't lose a series until May or whatever the heck it was. It was a long time.
It was late May.
It was late May before they lost a series. So that's saying a lot. There was not one 3-game series where they lost 2 and won 1.
Yep.
They won 2 of every series at least. And some of those were sweeps. And it felt, this Mets team is going places. The year before, they actually started pretty well as also. But let's just look at the teams in their division. Last year, the Phillies struggled, fired their skip in the early part of the season. It might have been 2 weeks into the season. They fired their skip. They had injury issues. They lagged behind everybody. And then what happened when they got to the postseason? They went to the World Series.
They clicked.
2 years ago, the Atlanta Braves were terrible. They were sub 500 for most of the season, and they find a way at the trade deadline to make some serious moves, get some serious bats, and construct a World Series winning team after the halfway point. So I know that we're looking at the Mets and saying, you got to get off the fast start. Just like we say with the Yankees, you got to get off to any team, you got to get off to a fast start. But there might be an argument that the Mets getting off to a slow start might help them in the long run. And this is the reason I say this, BT. Last year, the conversation about winning the division. Remember, we'd have Joe B on once the football season started. Joe B coming on here saying,
we should get him on now. It'd be gold.
He should. If the Mets don't win the division, they have no shot.
Yeah,
right?
I remember Joe saying that.
It was all about winning the division. You got to win the division. Well, not really. The Phillies didn't win the division. In fact, they were 3rd with 87 wins, and look where they ended up. I think the grind of trying to be regular season relevant, which is something they haven't consistently done for a long time, so I get it. But the grind of trying to be regular season relevant wore him out. And it forced Max Scherzer to do things that he shouldn't have done at 38 years old last year because he got hurt. Hurt his oblique, missed 10 starts, came into the postseason not really 100%. Now, he faked it. And he went out there and he gave it his best, but he was clearly compromised, and it was because of the grind of trying to win the division. So maybe in an odd way, this slow start isn't the worst thing for the Mets because it allows them to ease into who they're going to be.
Come on, dude.
It is scary because there are question marks. Like, I don't want to hear it's the same team as last year because it's not. That's fundamentally flawed argument, mainly because Edwin Diaz isn't here, but also you're not getting Taijuan Walker having a really good season. You're not getting Carlos Carrasco because of the pitch clock deviations. Might not have a great season. It's not the same team, but there could be something said about not getting a fast start, but that not being a detrimental thing for their ultimate success.
The only way that I would possibly agree with that, I can't buy that at all, unless the bad start absolutely kicks the Mets organization the ass to bring up the kids. That's it. Because the way they're set up now, they're not going to be good enough to overcome the deficit that they might be staring at very soon. Braves are 5-1. I know that there's wild cards, there's other ways to skin a cat here, but when you're starting pitching's a wreck, when your offense has been dormant, when your bullpen, which that was a matter of time before that happened.
I'm not telling you I'm optimistic.
Without Diaz.
Some Met fans will call. Hoff tried to get us yesterday. Believe this was they're fine, and they're not really fine.
I mean, they can tell themselves whatever they want,
I
think Yankee fans would do that. I don't know if the Yankees were scuffling instead of being 4-2, they were 2-4. And let's say if Cole got rocked and Gleyber was hitting $170. There's many ways to psychologically plow through rough patches as a sports fan. So I don't begrudge anybody for doing it, but I don't know how much I would actually attach to it in terms of stuff that's viable. That would give me real belief that the Mets would snap out of this without some upgrades and some other circumstances. 877-337-6666. By the way, speaking of the Mets, if you're on the LIE or the Sunken Meadow right now or the Belt or the BQE, hopefully you guys are enjoying the beautiful weather as you head over to Citi Field for the opener. Oh, wait.
Oh.
They're not playing today. Why are we not playing baseball today?
I don't know.
What a joke.
Don't know, VT.
It's one thing for the school systems to get soft. Oh, it might snow 1/9 of an inch. We're going to delay the start of school because the roads are going to be slick, and we'll determine 20 hours before the 1/9 of snow descends upon the suburbs to make hell for all the parents who work and all the other things you got to deal with when the kids don't go to school till 11 o'clock. But now we got baseball teams getting soft or baseball teams getting smart. Now, listen. I very well could be proven wrong on this. This is the Mets saying our bullpen shot. Mentally, we're not right. Weather's not going to be great. That was the perception yesterday. Let's just pull the plug and let's not play. Honestly, they're pulling a Bull Durham. They flooded the field.
I can't conspiracy theorize, but that's interesting.
Why else would you do it? It's going to be the night. It's going to be terrible. Tomorrow's going to be great today.
It's going to be 80
it's gorgeous
degrees.
out today.
80 degrees is supposed to get
today. I don't know what the hell's going on in Baltimore, but I don't want to say I don't care because it's the Yankees, so I do care, but it's not our city, so I'm not monitoring Baltimore by the second. It's gorgeous out. Mm-hmm. I get out of my garage, I hear birds chirping, a little dew on the grass. I take out the garbage. I'm like, all right, I'm starting to see those little swaths of green start to appear in my lawn, when it transforms from like the dormant winter grass to that nice little pop, that little lushness. Not there yet, but it's coming. Today is a beautiful day to play baseball. So get there early, have a good tailgate. What is it called? Doc's, what's the new place? The place that took over from McFadden's? Doc's 16.
K's Corner.
K's Corner. Get to K's Corner early. Not that it'll be open because there's no game today. But have a great opening day, Mets fans. I mean, come on. Huff, what is getting it? So it's one thing to play poorly. Now your team is getting soft? What's going on?
You just, come on, relax. The weather was supposed to be terrible today. You know that.
Supposed to be terrible, but it's not.
They made the right decision. They made the executive decision.
The New York Mets do not have the right to pull the plug on a game 17 hours before the game.
Then who does?
Nobody.
Listen, if today was awful outside and pouring, and then they were like, oh, we're going to stretch this out and try to get an opening day in, we would have been bashing them.
Fantastic.
So they took the opposite approach.
Okay.
It backfired.
Great.
Guess what? The weatherman has a job, and he's wrong half the time anyway.
And if the queen had stones, she'd be the king. A lot of ifs in the world. A lot of ifs in this life. If the weather was bad. But it's not. That's the whole point. It's gorgeous out.
They whiffed. It's okay.
76 degrees.
Listen, things are not going right in Queens right now to start the season. It's okay.
I don't think it's actually the worst thing that the Mets get a little reset here. I really don't. And I'm half kidding. I really believe deep down there's a part of them pulling a Bull Durham. Let's flood the field. We're not mentally right. Our bullpen is absolutely in shambles. I mean, we gave up basically 30,000 runs in Milwaukee. We got to stabilize this thing. And by the way, this might be the pivot time. This might be the pivot point of the Mets season.
I think they have to get input on that before they can't unilaterally cancel the game.
Well, they have to get input, of course, but I believe that they've got more discretion than Major League Baseball. There's no way Major League Baseball is canceling the game 17 hours. But that I don't believe. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, and I'll take the L on that, my bad. And by the way, I'm not even mad at the Mets for doing this. I'm just having a little bit of fun with the Met fans who I know would love to be at the yard today. It's going to be great out. And tomorrow's going to be awful.
Yeah, you also,
tomorrow's going to be bad.
If you had the complimentary tickets, they're now dead. Sorry.
Well, that's what I hate. And I got a lot of DMs from fans who were, and understandably just enraged about this. Like, listen, there's certain things you can't control. I get that. But, you carve out an off day, you spend an exorbitant amount of money on tickets, and it's a vacation, it's a holiday, it's opening day. And now you're not going, you probably eat some money. Nobody loves it's just a really rough start to the season. There's no way about it. Let's get Linda in Forest Hills first up on the fan. Linda, how are you today?
Good morning, men. How are you?
Good, Linda. How are you?
Hello, Linda.
Ooh, Billy Epler. Brandon,
yes.
I saw your tweets the last couple of days. I 100% agree with you. How this man has not had calls for his job in the media, at least, because I know fans have, is beyond me. I just don't understand how you have a team with World Series aspirations the last couple of seasons. And I'll tell you something. Last season, I wanted players like JT Realmuto and Springer. And if not Realmuto, I wanted Kyle Schwarber as DH. Failed.
Mm-hmm.
This offseason, JD Martinez, Adam Duvall, Josh Bell.
What about Abreu from the Astros? I mean, that's a guy. And I remember saying that. I think they got him for like $11 million, fairly cheap.
I don't understand what this man is doing.
Me neither.
He had the two best players in the world in Ohtani and Trout, and they're languishing in Anaheim right now. No wonder Trout loved playing in the WBC.
Yeah, it's true.
He felt like he was playing for something.
He's got some competitive juices. I mean, listen, Linda,
relevant baseball.
Yeah, no, Teek's right. Just to clarify, thanks for the call there, Linda. So Linda referenced some tweets that, and I tweet with a decent amount of regularity, not incessantly, but as an extension of the show, I'll do a little tweet in here. I never once called for Billy's head. I mean, I've questioned Billy Epler's bottom line impact on the Mets, and I very well might be calling for his head at some point during the summer. I hope I don't have to, but if I have to, I will. But I haven't gone there yet. That's ridiculously early. They won 101 games, second most wins in franchise history. That would be unfair and irresponsible, but it's not trending in a good direction because every move that he made has yet to pay any dividends, one of whom is gone in rough. The other one in Vogelback, who's either going to be gone or nailed to the bench at some point soon. I mean, we don't need to do this chapter and verse. You know what the Mets did. You know what the Mets didn't do. You know what the Mets needed to do. And right now, it's just a combination of frustration, a little confoundment, if you will. Met fans aren't happy. Met fans are worried, too. I get it. Mike's in Queens on the fan. What's happening, Mike? How you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
We're good, Mike.
Love the show.
Thank you, bro.
Thanks, Mike.
You guys talking about the weather and baseball. If anybody's looking for baseball in Queens today, UConn at St. John's, home opener.
Okay.
That's great.
There we go.
It was originally scheduled for 6, but the coaches looked at the forecast yesterday. Both schools, decided and agreed to move it to a noon start. So they're going to get that game in.
Smart. Yeah, I mean, the Mets weren't too far behind at 110 or so when you wrap up the ceremonies. There's no way they could not get this game in. They absolutely should be playing baseball today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
BT, I love you. Tiki, big Giant fan, love you. BT, I'm a big Mattingly fan, so I'm your guy too.
All right. Well, then what are you doing in Queens,
All
man?
right.
Thanks for the call there, Mike. By the way, we're inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Friends at Town Fair remind you that you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Teak, let me ask you this. So, if you're just tuning in, one thing that really worries me is that the Mets through 7 games have found a way to have each important aspect of the team implode early.
Yeah.
That's rare. Sometimes you start a season, you don't hit, you kind of languish through a lot of soft spots, and nobody's hitting it, and you look lethargic and impotent, but that's not necessarily a foreshadow to what's going to come once guys heat up. And some of these Mets will definitely hit. Some started already, the good ones, right? But the offense has been, for the most part, punchless. The pitching staff has been bad. And now we had a meltdown of the bullpen, which invariably it was going to happen sooner rather than later because Diaz is great, and other guys are now elevated to. I know Robertson was a closer, and I know Ottavino gave up the bomb, but he shouldn't even been pitching at that point, Ottavino. And he can make some questions. You can have some real issues, as I know good Met fans. I think Evan said something like that. I think Hoff was in agreement. I think Buck really has managed a little sloppily so far this year. Of the 3 areas of concern, hitting, starting pitching, bullpen.
Bullpen is the one that's most concerning, because think of all of the games last year that were won at the back end of the game.
I didn't think you were going to say that, by the way. That's almost more worrisome.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I mean,
keep going.
Clutch hits by whoever, Nemo, Marte, whoever. Clutch hits, you score a run. All right, man, it's high pressure, high leverage situation. You got to shut this thing down.
Yeah.
And it's over. Like, you just knew the game was over. You knew the game was over.
It's trumpet time.
As soon as they got the lead, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, you knew the game was over because Edwin Diaz was there. And it's why I keep coming back to these words that I keep hearing from Mets fans. It's the same team as last year. Fundamentally, it is not. It is just not, because you don't have Edwin Diaz. It's like Adam Vinatieri for the New England Patriots. If Adam Vinatieri and it's just some other random guy on the Patriots all those years, if they don't have Vinatieri, they probably don't win at least 3 of those Super Bowls.
They probably don't win the first one because they don't get there. They kick in the snow.
So because of that guy, and it's not who anybody will talk about. They'll talk about Tom Brady. Yeah. They'll talk about Deion Branch. Gronk. They'll talk about all these other guys.
Seymour.
All the defenses. Right? All these other guys. But when it came down to the moment in the game that mattered most, in baseball, it's can you get the last 3 outs. And football, it's can you kick the game-winning field goal. It was Adam Vinatieri, the reason that they won a lot of those Super Bowls. If he's not there, he's probably not winning all those Super Bowls. Same thing can be said, at least in my mind, about the Mets and the bullpen. So when I think about what's the most concerning, it's how are you replacing Edwin Diaz? It's not. It sounds easy to say, yeah, we got guys. Yeah, we got Ottavino. Yeah, we got Roberts. Yeah, we got these guys. It's not as easy as it sounds.
That's an interesting way to frame it. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney here on The Fan on this Thursday. Still no baseball for either team, but I want to get into this as well coming up next. So, Yankee fans, listen up. And we're not going to solve this, though we'll discuss it. We're not going to solve it today. I'm trying to determine, is this just one of those old school contract pushes by Gleyber Torres, or is this the real Gleyber Torres? Because if it is, things change in a very good and big way for the Yankees. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney on The Fan.